dealing with anxiety. Even more so than stress that I talked about yesterday, I would say anxiety, from a purely anecdotal perspective, is something that I feel people are experiencing or feeling that they're suffering from ever more year on year. And in a similar way of considering things as to yesterday, it's worth bearing in mind that all emotions are there for a reason. We wouldn't have evolved as a species to feel a certain emotion if it didn't benefit us in some way. And what I think really often underpins a lot of our frustrations and challenges and difficulties around anxiety is this assumption, this narrative out there that anxiety is automatically a bad thing. I'll have you consider that anxiety could be perceived as the emotion of growth. Anxiety is what happens when we step outside of our comfort zone. If we were to try and live a life with no anxiety, we would never challenge ourselves, we would never push ourselves, and I would suggest we would create more challenge, more difficulty, potentially more anxiety further down the line. I get that there is chronic anxiety, I get there's chemical considerations going on, but I think we can choose to reframe the way we see anxiety and realise it's not necessarily a bad thing. If we're anxious about coming in and doing a session because we've not been in for a little while, that's fine. We're challenging ourselves. The easy option is to stay at home, but that's the easy option that creates greater challenge, frustration, difficulty, and anxiety further down the line. If we're anxious about a conversation at work with our partner, if we're anxious about doing a particular thing, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Again, anxiety can be framed as the emotion of growth, and ultimately, we only grow by pushing those boundaries. What was anxiety creating for us 6, 12, 100 months ago maybe isn't anymore. In the same way that what is anxiety creating for us now might not be in the future. If we do those things, we build confidence and momentum when they go well, we course correct and learn from them when they don't. In summary, I'll have you consider it's worth viewing that anxiety isn't a bad thing. No emotion is. It could be framed as the emotion of growth. We could choose to consider that by avoiding anxiety and things that make us anxious, we just create a life that creates further anxiety.